Control your emotions, discipline your mind. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to TEDFLIX and Chill. Tonight, we're chilling out and we're ranking every single Harry Potter from worst to best. And to do it, I snatched the Elder Wand right out of Voldemort. Let's get after it, baby. Let's go. Starting off my list at the very bottom, in my opinion, the worst Harry Potter movie. And it's not like that bad. I just don't think it's good. It just doesn't feel like Harry Potter. And that is Deathly Hallows Part 1. This scene with Hagrid and Harry leaving Privet Drive with the, 7 different Harrys, this is literally the only part of this movie that I like. That's it. But then it ends with Hedwig, his owl, dying. So that's one good part of the movie that gets ruined by a death. And then at the end of the movie, Draco doesn't rat out Harry. And that's a cool angle that I guess plays into the next movie. But then my boy Dobby dies at the very end. And so it's the two most interesting moments in this movie are followed up with the most tragic deaths. Hedwig, the homie from day one, dies after this scene. And then Dobby, that boy from Chamber of Secrets, ends up dying at the end. And it's so tragic. So Deathly Hallows, I'm sorry, you come in at the bottom spot.
Absolutely not.
I told you you'd take it well.
Well, none of us really fancy it, mate.
So coming up next in my number 7 spot, I've got to give it to Order of the Phoenix. This movie used to be at the bottom of my list, but to be honest, after some time, it's really grown on me, and it's definitely hands down better than Deathly Hallows Part 1, for sure. But in my opinion, what holds back this movie the most is the fact that in Goblet of Fire, we have the Triwizard Tournament and Voldemort, right? And then this movie, we have Professor Umbridge and the Ministry. Okay. Do you see how that just kind of downgraded? In my opinion, just doesn't live up to Goblet of Fire whatsoever. And also, Umbridge is just the worst. She's the worst. Umbridge was so annoying. Not gonna lie though, there are some good parts of this movie that I've really come to like when Harry starts training everyone how to defend themselves. I thought that was pretty cool. Making Dumbledore's army, and then Dumbledore has to take the blame, and then he's like, oh, you think I'm going to Azkaban? Yeah, right. Then he goes, whoosh, and then out of there, just out. Great part. Another part I love with this movie is Snape teaching Harry to resist the mind probes because, Voldemort's able to see everything in Harry's mind. And so Dumbledore's like, yo, Snape, you got to train with Harry, do some one-on-one, help him with this. And Snape is reluctant. He's like, control your emotions, discipline your mind. It's just great. It's great to see them train together, but be a reluctant teacher for Harry. And then Harry kind of gives it back to him. And then we see a flashback of Snape being younger and being bullied by James. Great part. Probably the best part of the whole movie. But does that make this a better movie than others? Unfortunately, no.
Obviously.
Coming in at number 6, it's actually ironically the 6th movie in the franchise, Half-Blood Prince. I enjoy how right off the bat, we get a one-on-one with Harry and Dumbledore. And it just sets the tone for the movie that, okay, Dumbledore, he's got a prominent part in this movie. And that's one of the reasons why this is definitely better than Order of the Phoenix. And in my opinion, the best part of this movie was when Ron drinks the liquid luck, apparently, and he just has himself a day. Love to see my boy Ron just being a dog. She's like, he's a dog. I'm so glad we finally get a sick Quidditch match, and it's Ron just being the homie. So yeah, just Ron finally getting his day because he was jealous of Harry getting all the attention in Goblet of Fire, and now he finally gets it in this movie. And then Harry's just like, oh, I actually never gave it to him. It was all just him the whole time. No liquid luck needed. Love that. But then in the last third of the movie, I feel like it gets a little more serious and a little more kind of sad, I guess, at the end. Because once they go looking for the Horcruxes, it's all black and white, essentially. And then they figure out that the Horcrux they found isn't real. And they find that out after Dumbledore is already dead. Kind of a bummer way to have Dumbledore go out and then to have him just get murked by Snape. Just tragic. It's cool to have it set in the astronomy tower, and it's cool to see Draco not actually go through with it, to then have Snape be forced to step up. And Dumbledore's like, yo, homie, please Just put me out of my misery. But yeah, because the movie ends on such a downer note, that's really the only reason this isn't higher up on my list.
Did you and Ginny do it then? What?
So now we're in the top 5 Harry Potter movies, and coming in at number 5, it's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. The opening scene of them sneaking into Gringotts, that pays great homage to the Sorcerer's Stone. I love that. And then they ride off on a dragon. Thought that was so cool. And then it's sick when Harry comes back to Hogwarts finally and sees it being controlled by Snape. It kind of reminds me of like The Lion King when Simba comes back, the Pride Rock, and everything's in shambles because it's ruled by Scar. It just has very similar vibes to that. And then I think it's epic when Snape is asking everyone, you know anything about Harry? And then Harry comes out, he's like, oh, really? How dare you stand where Dumbledore stood? You actually murked him. And then we get McGonagall stepping up. Like, there's so many like clap-worthy moments. This is a movie, seeing it in theaters, it's just like so epic. It literally felt like the Avengers Endgame of Harry Potter. Everyone teams up. It's the grand finale. It's epic. I love this movie. And then at the very end with Neville giving that speech of, it doesn't matter that Harry's dead, like he still lives on in all of us, and then pulls out the sword of Gryffindor, and then Harry rolls out of Hagrid and is alive, and then Voldemort's all like, yo, what? Homie literally got Avada Kedavra and he's alive again. He survived again. And also the fight scenes between Harry and Voldemort at the end, like so epic. And in my opinion, this is definitely the best of the last 4 Harry Potter movies by far. It's just hard to top the first 4. Like watching this movie in theaters, you just had chills the entire time. You're like, oh, is he gonna kill the snake? Is Harry gonna be the one to do it? But then to have Neville be the one to do it with the sword of Gryffindor, it's like, bro, perfect. And then Harry's the one that's able to finish him off, snatches the Elder Wand, and saves the day. Cut to black. End of movie. Great conclusion to the series. Definitely deserving to be in the top 5, and it's at the number 5 spot.
I'll set the bloody place on fire!
So coming in at my number 4 spot, I have to give it to the very beginning of the series, the Sorcerer's Stone. You're a wizard, Harry. Like, moments like that are just too iconic to deny. Sure, is Deathly Hallows Part 2 more action-packed, more suspenseful, more of a payoff? Sure, but without this movie, we don't get that moment. The entire series literally hinges on this movie being magical and iconic in itself. So how can you really argue against that? I just love to see Harry's humble beginnings at the Dursleys' house to then be saved by Hagrid, and like having Harry be thrown into the wizarding world and for us to all experience this for the first time. It's a great introduction to the world, and Harry learning that, oh, I'm like famous low-key, like why am I famous? That's kind of a cool mystery that plays throughout the movie. Like, why is he the chosen one? What are these evil workings going on in the background? And then we get Quirrell being the villain, who's low-key Voldemort in the back of his head. That's why he's wearing that turban thing. So that's really the only thing holding this movie back, is the fact that Quirrell has to face off against Harry at the end. That's the only part that I really don't like about this movie. Everything else is so iconic. Harry meeting Ron and Hermione on the bus, making friends with them, and then Harry meeting Draco for the first time and having that feud start between them. Then how Harry gets his cloak of invisibility, which is low-key a Deathly Hallow. So overall, there's just so many iconic moments. Diagon Alley, getting sorted into Gryffindor with the sorting hat. You just can't deny how magical and perfect it is in its own way. And sure, it doesn't have an epic ending like Deathly Hallows Part 2, but to me, I think the beginning of the franchise done so well in this way is better and more important than having a good ending. So in my opinion, that's why you gotta put Sorcerer's Stone at least at number 4.
That was bloody brilliant.
Oh, thank you for that assessment, Mr. Weasley.
All right, now we're in my top 3, and at number 3, I've gotta give it to the iconic, the Fire Goblet of Fire. This movie is a thrill ride from start to finish. Like, the fact that this came out just a few months after Revenge of the Sith, I just always got the impression that this was the Revenge of the Sith of the Harry Potter franchise. Because when you think about it, Harry and Ron both have long hair in this movie, just like Anakin does. Also, this movie is the middle point and climax of the series, just like Revenge of the Sith is, because in this one, Voldemort comes back, and then Revenge of the Sith, Darth Vader creator has created. And the fact that they're that similar, it's just like, come on. You can't help but have fun watching this movie. Definitely my favorite part of the tournament was when Harry had to get the egg from the Hungarian horntail. Like, this entire scene is just so epic. He had to go against the hardest dragon out of the bunch, and in order to do that, he literally has to ride on his broom and like navigate and swerve and skirt all across the castle just to avoid getting eaten. It's just one of the most action-packed sequences in Harry Potter. And the ending of this movie is epic, with the final task being in that scary maze, and then Harry and Cedric get transported to the graveyard where Voldemort is literally being resurrected. It's like, what? And for Voldemort, you're like, oh, I can finally touch you now. It's like so creepy, so terrifying. Definitely hands down, the scariest Voldemort in the entire franchise. Way scarier than any of the other movies he's in. And then he ends up fighting Harry. He's like, get up, Harry. And you can just tell in this fight, Harry he doesn't have a chance. He's putting up a good fight for being year 4 Harry Potter. Like, Voldemort should have no problem against this. Like, literally, Harry's doing decent. But then Harry's able to escape thanks to the ghosts that pop up. So overall, this movie just has very high stakes with the Triwizard Tournament and with Voldemort coming in at the end, that it's almost just too epic to deny a top 3 spot. So that's why it comes in at number 3.
Wake up, Ronald.
Bloody hell.
But coming in at the number 2 spot, it's actually the second movie in the series, The Chamber of Secrets. Whenever I think about Harry Potter, I think about this movie. This movie does everything the first movie does, but even better. The first one introduces you to the world and kind of has to hold your hand and show you the whole wizarding world. This one, you're right back into the Ron and Harry shenanigans. Like Fred and George saving Harry on his birthday from the Dursleys. Like, this is one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. And another one of my favorite scenes also has to do with the flying car again, because when Ron and Harry end up missing the train, they're like, okay, mate, let's go, our turn. They just slam right into it. It's just too good. It's too good. Oi! This guy's like, oi! What do you two think you're doing? And then Ron's like, wait, hold up, wait a minute. I know what we can do. The car. And when Ron and Harry are trying to follow the train, and they're like, you know, it's got to be nearby somewhere. And they're like, oh, hold up. It's right. Like, that is like a meme now. And it's all from this classic movie. I mean, how can you literally not love this movie? This is pure Harry Potter. Not like being like a Malfoy, like pure bloods only. No. I'm just talking like pure Harry Potter vibes. Like, look at my boy Harry. He's about to fall out of the car. The boy who lived is about to fall out of a flying car. But Ron ends up saving the day. We love Ron for that. We love him. Also, I think Professor Lockhart, who's like a total fraud throughout the movie, he's kind of hilarious. Like, he's got great moments. He's super cheesy, super corny, but it just works. It just works in this movie. And I think it's a really fun character. And lastly, the final fight with Tom Riddle, young Tom Riddle, and the Basilisk with Harry getting the sword of Gryffindor. Like, seeing this in theaters as a little kid, I was like, yo, this is insanity right now. Like, this is such a better ending fight scene than in the first movie. It's like not even funny. We get Fox blinding the Basilisk. That was epic as well. So overall, I think The Chamber of Secrets, it's just the funniest Harry Potter movie. And then the final fight with the Basilisk, it's too good. It just nails every single Harry Potter thing you want in a Harry Potter movie. It's perfect, but not as perfect as the number 1 spot. And coming in at the number 1 spot, this is the perfect Harry Potter film. It's The Prisoner of Azkaban. Literally no other Harry Potter movie is filmed and directed like Azkaban is. The director, Alfonso Cuarón, literally was just a magician himself with the camera work in this movie. Like, this scene is all one continuous shot for like over a minute and a half. of Harry in the leaky cauldron talking to Mr. Weasley, and no other Harry Potter movie has cinematic feats like this. And this is just one example of what Alfonso Cuarón does. He genuinely pours love and care into the work that he does, and it's just so apparent in this movie. Literally every scene in this movie feels special and feels important, and it just draws you in. It makes you feel like you're literally in the movie with the way the camera moves throughout every one of his scenes. It's truly some of the best directing work that I've seen in a big franchise movie. Also, one of my favorite scenes is when Harry steps up kind of unwillingly, but he's like, you know what? All right, fine. I'll send it. And he gets to be the one that rides Buckbeak, almost like it was meant to be. I mean, I know he's the main character, I get it. Still, having Harry ride Buckbeak is so important because Buckbeak actually represents a main theme in this movie, and that theme is freedom. Like the music track that plays in the background, done perfectly by John Williams, and having Harry fly Buckbeak over the water, like you just can't deny that Buckbeak is the embodiment of freedom. It's just such an empowering moment for Harry as a character. And this moment, Harry's like on top of the world. Just pure freedom. One of my favorite moments, hands down. Also, I love how Remus is the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher and teaches kids how to stand up against their fears with the Boggart, which plays into the bigger themes of this movie that I'll talk about for the end of the movie. But when Remus then after that scene is talking to Harry on the bridge and it's like, you are more like your parents than you even realize. And in time, you'll come to see just how true that is. That also plays into the end of the movie as well. Just wait for it. I'll get to it. Like the writing in this movie is top tier. It sets up things throughout the movie and then has a big payoff in the end, which I love. And then obviously the big confrontation with Sirius Black, Remus, and Snape all being there in the Shrieking Shack. Harry's literally about to kill his godfather, Sirius Black, and is like, you want the smoke? And he's like, yeah, you really are trying to kill me, Harry? Right, that's funny, dude. And then Remus shows up, and then you're just like, wait, why is Remus helping out Sirius Black? It's a great twist to find out Sirius Black wasn't the one that set up Harry's parents. It was Peter Pettigrew, who is Ron's rat? What? This whole time, it's the rat is a person. Bruh. Like, this was such a great climax, and to have it right in the middle, you then are thinking, okay, what else is gonna happen? Like, I'm kind of confused, but then the whole time travel aspect comes into play, and then really makes this movie so unique in itself. And you know how those themes of facing your fears, of believing in yourself, all those themes come to a head in one moment. Harry sees his past self and his godfather Sirius getting attacked by all the Dementors, and Harry's like, don't worry, my dad's gonna show up, Hermione. They're gonna be fine. And then Hermione's like, Harry, no one's coming. And so then that moment clicks. Harry's like, you know what? I'm the one to do it then. He believes in himself and faces his fears. And because he does that, he's able to save himself and Sirius. And then that leads to them freeing Sirius with Buckbeak. And Buckbeak represents freedom. So literally the themes of this movie all mean that if you face your fears and believe in yourself, that's the key to freedom. Like, that is literally epic storytelling. And it's done in a Harry Potter movie. What? It's perfect. This is the perfect Harry Potter movie. The storytelling is perfect. The directing and the camera work is perfect. The music is perfect as well. Perfect age of the cast. It's perfect. It's the #1 Harry Potter movie, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Oh!
Thank you, Mr. Malfoy.
So guys, that's going to be the video. That was every single Harry Potter ranked from worst to best. If you agree, make sure to leave a like. And if you disagree, still leave a like. But just let me know in the comments what your list is instead. I'm very curious to see. And also make sure to subscribe because we're playing Hogwarts Legacy. So make sure to stay tuned for that. So again, thank you guys for watching. This has been TEDFLIX and Chill. Peace out.